Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. It would be super cheeky of you. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Hopeful Outcome 894 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole for not wanting to pay for a huge dinner? Some backstory. I'm pretty successful, especially in comparison to my family. I also travel quite a bit for work. When I do come into town, I try and meet everyone and usually go out to a few dinners. Because of the income disparity, I almost always pay for my family. Sometimes I splurge and take them out to a really nice place, but usually it's just Outback or something. I do let them pay every once in a while when it's a quick, cheap meal, so they don't feel bad. I have no issue with this and I love helping my family. I handle family vacation, bought mum a car, etc. So I feel like I'm very generous with them. I was coming back into town for the holidays but couldn't stay long this time. My mum said everyone wanted to see me and planned a dinner. After I got into town, I had a text from my mum from a few hours earlier. No signal on the plane. To meet at a really high-end steakhouse. I was a bit uneasy about it because I always initiate more expensive meals but rolled with it. I showed up at the restaurant to find a huge party. My mum, stepdad, grandparents, cousins, neighbors, etc. Neighbors? Bloody hell. Usually our family dinner are 6 people roughly. I don't have much family and very few I'm close to. This was almost 20 people. I didn't think much of it and ordered dinner. Then the neighbor of my grandmother, whom I've only ever waved to, offered a toast to me for being so generous and taking everyone out to dinner. I looked at my mum, who was beet red. Appetizers came out at this exact moment. I'd assumed some version of a Dutch meal since so many people were there. I immediately said, I'm not paying for dinner. I quickly looked around, everyone had drinks, they ordered a ton of appetizers, and everyone had steaks. This place's steaks are all $80 to $250 per person. Quick math said this was going to be a 4K dinner easy. I got up, threw $100 on the table, and left. My phone was blowing up. I turned it off and went to bed and left the next day without saying bye. I didn't handle it well because I actually felt used. I also told my mother I would stop sending her monthly allowance going forward. I know I'm not the arsehole with the dinner, but more concerned about my reaction. I Love Sloth says to OP, did she put the dinner on your credit card? OP says no. I'm told by a niece that shit hit the fan after I left. Apparently they tried to cancel as much as they could, but they already had the appetizers and drinks and had spent about $700 on that, so they split it and paid and left. Commenter says, your family invited your neighbors. Do you even know these people? Wait, it doesn't even matter. And everybody had drinks and appetizers and steak. Oh hell no. Paying for your part and leaving was entirely appropriate. They took advantage of the golden goose and the golden goose left and cut mama off. Not the arsehole. Fearless Spring says, clear, not the arsehole. You did not offer, you did not get consulted, and mother seemed to assume you would pay for the world and their dog, and I think I would have handled it the same way. Put down more than enough to make up for what I've ordered so far, and leave. Not your drama to sort through, so have a nice quiet evening elsewhere. Successful Bath says, not the arsehole. They really were expecting you to pay. What a bunch of greedy lowlifes. Your mum is a major arsehole. Planning a family dinner and expensive steak restaurants are two vastly different things. You had every right to feel used and abused. I think you handled it just fine. On the allowance, well done. That will sting. I'm sorry for chuckling because I do feel bad for OP for having to deal with this and his family taking advantage of him like this, but it's just the absolute audacity. It's shocking that this person, the mum, or whoever it was, has gone round to bloody neighbours saying, come on out tonight to the steakhouse. Don't worry, my son's paying for it. And they're like, oh yeah, hell yeah. If I was that neighbor and someone come around and said that, I'd be like, I'm not sure I'm quite comfortable with that. Just going to someone that I don't really know and then paying for my meal like that. It's just so bizarre. But OP comes in with a minor update before their final update and says, so my mum has been begging me to call her. I figured I'd let it go and called her back. I apologized for storming out and assumed she would apologize too and we could move forward. Nope, I was called selfish, greedy, disrespectful, and mean. I asked how they could call me greedy and selfish after everything I've done for everyone. She said I didn't do that much and could do more. To be clear, I bought her 2 cars now, helped remodel a bathroom, replaced their roof, new appliances, and paid for 5 or 6 family vacations. This is on top of a legion of other things. I got so mad I went scorched earth and told her that nobody would be receiving any more help they weren't appreciative of going forward. I called AT&T and cancelled the 6 lines I was paying for everyone, cancelled the internet I was paying for, changed passwords on, or cancelled all my streaming accounts, kicked their cars off of AAA, kicked her off my insurance, car, and cancelled the credit card I'd given her. No more free rides. Holy moly, fuck around and find out. But OP gives some more context in the comments and says, not much to update. Told my mum I cancelled everything or changed passwords, and they had till the end of the billing cycle to get a phone plan. It will be a while before it sinks in, I think. Now that I'm thinking clearer, I don't think it was malicious. It's that I was taken for granted to the fullest of extents. I've been doing it so long it was a given. The dinner was partially my fault because of that. I think the combo of an 18-hour flight just to see family, being tired and cranky, and the dinner made me snap a bit. I always felt like I should take care of my family after life went well for me, but money is the devil you don't see, and it corrupts everyone, I guess. Family reunions, me. Vacations, me. Schooling for nephew, me. Phones, me. I could keep going on, but the more I type, the dumber I feel. Give it a few months and they will feel the pinch. A commenter, who was downvoted by the way, quoted OP saying, after I got into town I had a text from my mum from a few hours earlier, no signal on plane, and then says, so you're so fabulously wealthy that you've bought her 2 cars now, helped remodel a bathroom, replaced their roof, new appliances, and paid for 5 or 6 family vacations. This is on top of a legion of other things, and then says, but you don't pay $20 for Wi-Fi on a plane. Before making a fake story next time, make sure you get the details right. OP responded saying 2 cars over 12 years, both Honda CR-Vs. The bathroom remodel was $8K and the roof was $12. Also over the last decade, and it's only good for 3 hours on an 18-hour flight from the Philippines. I tried to sleep the rest of the flight. After 5 days, OP comes in with their final update and says, since everyone has been asking, here are the updates. Nothing major. So after I left my niece, who was not there, so third hand here, said everyone was in shock. They tried to cancel dinner, but the apps and drinks had already come, so they split a $700 bill and left. Mum's been calling, and I'm avoiding her calls now. Her voicemails are each meaner than the last, so I just delete them now. I told her I wanted time for us to all calm down, and I'll talk to her next month. I was uninvited from a cousin's wedding I barely know. They didn't want drama, but let it known that they would like the present. That convo could spark off a whole other Am I the Arsehole thread. They were deciding where the family vacation will be this summer previously. That horse is dead now. I visited with my niece and she told me that there is zero remorse or understanding. It is basically an accepted consensus that I'm a greedy, mean monster. So nothing juicy. I'll update if anything major happens, but I think this is the status quo for a while. Holy moly, the absolute audacity of these people. And I know when I say this, it's so easily said about cutting these people off, but OP clearly thought they had strong bonds with their family, so it's going to be difficult. But you know, I feel like it needs to be done at the same time because it's the first almost real boundary that OP's set by the sound of it, and they've reacted badly because they've never had to respect one before. And we've seen a couple of stories like this before where generosity without any kind of boundaries usually turns into expectation, and that expectation turns into resentment on both sides. I'm not saying it happens with everyone, I'm sure it works out for some people, but at the same time I can't see this family changing their ways. They're already calling OP a greedy monster after everything he's done for them. Absolutely wild. And it just shows how they view OP, which again is just awful and incredibly sad for him. And I know, once again, it's easily said to cut these people off, but I think it takes time to realize the patterns and maybe even some therapy to help you unpack how the family has treated you in this way. And has it always been like this? Has there been other things in the background that you have not noticed? As I say, like when I go to therapy now and I'm unpacking things, and the lady picks up on things that I may have not have picked up on before, because I always talk about my childhood and she always corrects me and saying, you know, you didn't think about it that way when you was younger, it was your child brain, etc. Yeah, basically what I'm saying is, you know, therapy can sometimes pull out things. I know it's not for everyone, but it can sometimes pull out things that you just didn't think of before. Anyway, I'm talking shit as usual. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from a throwaway account from the True Off My Chest subreddit and says my husband slept with his ex-wife. This started in September 2025 but has an update from recently. I don't like talking about this, but my sister has made me see a counselor and he is encouraging me to write down my feelings. I don't want to tell everyone I know. They already know the bare bones version and that's too much. My husband slept with his ex-wife. I, female 34, have been married to him, male 39, for a year, and together for a total of 4 years. He's been married once before. He got divorced 10 years ago because his ex-wife left him for someone else. He's never given me any indication he still has feelings for her. I was naive. A few months ago, he had sex with her before a wedding. The only reason I even know about this is because she's pregnant and her own husband isn't the father. My husband admitted to me that he had sex with her because she asked him to. I'm devastated. I know I'm not the first person to be cheated on, but I can't explain how much it hurt me. I can't forget this no matter what my husband says. I keep thinking about my 14-year-old stepson and how he's feeling. My sister has taken me in. My brother is a solicitor and he's found me somewhere to represent me in my divorce. I don't know what I would do without them. I feel broken and heartbroken. That's how I feel, and it should be obvious to my counselor. Bloody hell. And I know this was last year, but reading this story, I still feel awful for OP. And she's handling this about as well as anyone could, leaning on her sister and getting legal help quickly, not trying to minimize what happened, which are the best moves when your trust gets completely shattered. And the ex-wife is just as bad here. She dragged him back in. I mean, he's equally as bad here. I'm not giving him any excuses. Cheated on her fiance and created a situation that's basically going to blow up her own marriage before it even really begins. And like we see with a lot of these situations, the only real silver lining here is that it came out early. 1 year into marriage instead of 10. Absolutely still bloody brutal, but at least OP isn't wasting more of her life on someone who clearly doesn't respect her or the relationship, and she just deserves so much better. But a comment comes straight in and says, you deserve so much better than that. This is all on him. Whatever fallout, his fault. And hers. I hope her husband finds out. OP says her husband knows. He can't or doesn't want to have another child. I don't know if that's by choice and by circumstance. He has a 9-year-old, and he confronted my husband when he found out about the pregnancy. Wacky says, wait, so you're divorcing an ex-wife and new husband staying together? Do you have kids/want kids? If so, find yourself someone without kids. It'd be 1,000 times easier for you. I'm saying this as a single dad, and I know how hard it is for stepmothers coming in. Opie says they're not staying together. The new husband has moved into his own flat and plans to seek a divorce. Wacky replies saying, so your future ex is back with his ex then? Damn, this is a mess. They probably never stopped sleeping together. Opie says no, they are not together. They aren't living together, and from what I know, ever since her new husband left, my husband and her only communicate through their lawyers. Apparently they are both angry at each other. A commenter, who was downvoted, says, I genuinely believe there can be reconciliation after infidelity. You must truly decide for yourself if the marriage is worth saving. Take time to process and get individual therapy. Not couples, not marriage, individual therapy. You will need to be mentally and emotionally stable to make the decision if it's worth saving or not. No one here can make that decision for you, as you'll be the one who has to live with it. My personal opinion based on living with infidelity is to leave, but that was my unique situation. Sorry you have to live with this. Opie says I'm divorcing him. I can't forget this no matter what he says. Affectionate Wheel says I'm sorry this is happening to you. Cheating destroys everything. It destroys your trust first off. You'll never feel about him the same way or trust him. It's done. He did it. It's a character flaw. Also, it demonstrates he has a lot of issues. That he doesn't respect you, nor does he respect your marriage. He is not trustworthy. Cheating destroys family relationships, friendships, finances. So I'm going to suggest you go visit an attorney. And then I'm going to suggest you take half of the savings or any money you're sharing and move it to a private account and separate the credit cards. Financially separate your money. I'm also going to suggest you file for a divorce, or at least have the papers drawn up. That will buy you some time to get some counseling and figure out what you want to do. Not everybody cheats. I don't care what people tell you, most people don't. Because of the effect it's going to have on you, it will destroy your self-esteem over time. Also, within a couple of months, he'll tell you should forgive him now that you decided to stay, and yet every time he leaves the house or every time he's going to go out with friends or talk to somebody on the phone, you will not trust him. He killed your marriage. OP quotes about taking them half of the money and says, this is the exact opposite of what my solicitor has advised me to do. Obviously, I'll be listening to my solicitor. The commenter replies saying, "You don't spend it, it just sits there. I've had a couple of people. I know that their accounts completely cleared out by their panicked partner that needed to go with somebody else. It's not to be spent, it's still included in the divorce." OP responds saying, "My solicitor was very clear in telling me not to touch any money from our bank accounts or our savings and not to sever myself from anything financial. The instructions were clear. Are you still suggesting that I disregard the instructions of a licensed solicitor who specializes in divorce law in favor of your advice?" So OP came in 7 months later and says, "I'm divorced. The final order was granted yesterday. I, female 35, am still seeing the counselor, but I don't know if it's helping very much. My ex-husband, male 40, betrayed me. We'd only been married for just over a year when I found out what he had done. People keep asking me when I'm going to start dating again. I don't want to. I will never get over this. I've only seen my ex-husband once since I left him. My stepson went to my workplace and my ex-husband was the one who came and picked him up. I feel absolutely terrible for my stepson. He's 15 years old and now his life has been turned upside down. He came to see me because he said he missed me and he didn't want me and my ex-husband to get divorced. He told me his mother and father hate each other and barely speak. It broke my heart that day and I wish I could do something to help him. I never want to see my ex-husband again, but will always care about my stepson. I hate my ex-husband for what he did." Commenter says, "They hate each other, but still find time to screw. Wow." Commenter replies saying, "Hate sex is fantastic." The commenter says, "You can still have a relationship with him, your ex-stepson, outside of his mother and father, assuming they don't intervene or cut it off. If anything, you're probably the only stability he has in his life since his parents are a total train wreck." Commenter replies saying, "Seriously, that kid needs someone to love him and OP is the only one with a heart." Overthinking says, "The stepson coming to find you says a lot about who you were to him. That kid didn't have to do that and he did anyway. Whatever your ex destroyed, he didn't destroy that. People ask him when you're going to start dating again a year out from something like this is genuinely so tone deaf. You don't owe anyone a timeline." Commenter says, "This is beautifully said. That stepson showing up speaks volumes about your heart and the rest of the world can wait." And I truly hope that OP is able to keep some kind of relationship with stepson because like the commenters were saying, it sounds like OP is the only kind of stability that this guy has right now by the sounds of it, which is incredibly sad. And it does say a lot that he turned up to OP. You know, a 15-year-old doing this, he must be going through a hell of a lot right now. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is titled, "Would I be the arsehole for refusing to give up my grandmother's engagement ring for my brother's proposal?" Oof. So this has turned into a huge family fight, and I need to know if I'm in the wrong here. My grandmother left me her engagement ring in her will. It's a beautiful vintage piece, very sentimental to me because I was extremely close with her growing up. I've kept it safely stored for years. Here's where things get messy. My older brother, 30 male, is planning to propose to his girlfriend, 28 female, and recently asked if he could have our grandmother's ring. He said it would mean a lot to him to keep it in the family, and that his girlfriend loves vintage rings. I told him no, this ring was left to me, and I intended to either keep it or use it for myself someday. He got really upset, saying I was being selfish and it's just sitting in a box while he has an actual use for it. My parents sided with him, saying that as the eldest, it should have gone to him anyway, and that I'm being difficult for no reason. Things escalated when my brother said I was hoarding the ring out of spite and that I should want it to stay in the family. I told him I do. It's staying with me. Now he's barely speaking to me and my parents keep texting me about how hurt he is. Am I the arsehole for refusing to give up the ring? It's one of those stories that has a very simple response. Not the arsehole, your grandmother chose you, that's the whole story. This wasn't a random family heirloom floating around, it was specifically willed to you, which means she trusted you to keep it, use it, or do whatever you want with it. And I found it weird that he kept saying keep it in the family when OP's got it, who is family, but he wanted to give it to his girlfriend, potential fiance. And there's a chance that, you know, one day if they was to break up or divorce or whatever, there's a real chance that that ring could be gone. The commenter says to OP, you have proof in the will, so there should be no argument. Why don't you wear it? Commenter replies saying, yes, you should wear it as a necklace too. With a long enough chain, it might be not visible, but close to your heart. Commenter says, if you wear it, be very careful when your future sister-in-law asks to try it on. Previous suggestions that you have photographed wearing the ring, have it insured in your name, etc. Commenter says this is good advice. May I also suggest storing it in a safe deposit box at the bank? Commenter says, why aren't you wearing it? It's a ring. It was an engagement ring. Now it's just a diamond ring sitting in a box. Not the arsehole, your family definitely is. Huge fan of sending the family a link to the thread, by the way, and don't leave it anywhere near your greedy loser family. They can't be trusted. I love the way that Reddit stories have conditioned us these days, like especially around item heirloom stories or whatever, stuff that's been passed down, is that your family's gonna fucking steal it from you, put it in the bank in a big vault. And don't get me wrong, I'm only joking because there's probably some truth behind that, and it is best to protect stuff like that. That means a lot to you, so I totally get it, but it always does tickle me. So OP did come in with their update and says, wow, I did not expect this to blow up the way it did. Thanks to everyone who commented, whether you sided with me or not. I appreciate the perspectives. So here's what happened since my original post. A few days after the argument, my parents invited me over for dinner, saying they wanted to talk things through. I was skeptical but went anyway. Surprise, surprise, it was a setup. My brother and his girlfriend were both there, and the whole thing turned into an ambush. His girlfriend, who by the way had no idea about the drama, was super sweet and kept saying things like, oh, I don't want to take anything away from you. I just love the idea of something sentimental. So now I was the bad guy for making a big deal out of it. My parents kept pushing, my brother was sulking, and I was basically being guilt-tripped into handing over something that was willed to me. I stood my ground and told them all the conversation was over. My brother then tried to compromise by saying, well, what if I borrow it just for the proposal and the wedding, and then you can have it back? Nope, not happening. Then the real kicker. I found out from my aunt, my dad's sister, that my grandmother explicitly left the ring to me because she knew my parents would pressure me to give it to my brother. Apparently she saw this whole mess coming and wanted to make sure I got something special of hers. When I told my parents this, my mum got really quiet and my dad just said something like, well, she probably didn't mean to cause this kind of divide. At this point, I'm done with the whole conversation. My brother is still barely speaking to me. My parents are acting like I've personally ruined their lives, but honestly, I don't care anymore. I have the ring, it was left to me, and I'm keeping it. Thanks again for all the advice. I definitely don't feel like the arsehole anymore. Commenter says, not the arsehole. Your grandmother was a wise lady. You also enjoy that ring all your life. Commenter replies saying, sounds like your grandmother knew who was the golden child. Goddess says, well done. She left it to you because she knew you deserved it, and if she could see what was happening since, she'd see she was proven right. No commenter says, not the arsehole, and you should wear it. I have an expensive ring that was gifted to me by my son's grandmother, and I didn't wear it for years because I thought it was too fancy. Finally, I said, F it. I wanted to enjoy it now, so I wear it almost every day, and it's beautiful, and I don't give a fuck. And loads of people on the back of this were saying that OP should be wearing the ring in some form or another, either on a hand or a necklace or whatever. And I found that a bit weird for some reason. I'm not sure why, but not everyone wants to wear a sentimental heirloom every day, and that doesn't make it any less meaningful. Keeping it safe and valuing it privately is just as valid as wearing it, in my opinion. And some pieces just wouldn't work with modern day outfits or whatever. I mean, my mum left like a whole bunch of jewelry to family. I'm not sentimental about that kind of thing, so, you know, a lot of it went to my niece, but a lot of these pieces my niece wouldn't wear because my mum liked some chunkier gold pieces. My niece would end up looking like Mr. T. Ain't getting on no plane. Oh, I love the A-Team. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And I'll see you in the next one, you crazy fool. Much love, guys.